Hello, I am Abby. I am Top Knot Stitcher. This is Oscar Pepper, or Little Cat, or Little Pepperita. Oh, I love her. She's so happy to be here. I hope she hangs out up here because that would be adorable. But we're really excited that you are here with us. Right? I wasn't planning on making this video for a couple more weeks because I don't have very much stitching progress to share with you all. But I got a haircut today, and I didn't want to waste my hair looking like extra nice and smooth and shiny, so here we are. I do have a lot to share, however. I have an FFO, I have my progress on my 2 WIPs, small though it may be. I have my oldest WIP to share, and along with all of that, I have some WIP angst and questions to ask. We'll get to that. It's complicated. I have a few little things that I've purchased in the last few weeks that are very tiny, small improvements I've made in my stitching life, but I'm very happy about them. I also have one really exciting purchase that I'm just so happy to be able to share. Let's see what else. I have some shout outs, I have some books, and that's probably about it. But before any of that, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone for watching and commenting. You all left the nicest comments on my last video, and many of you said hi to my mom, and it was awesome, so thank you. She replied back to kind of the first batch of people, and it was really cute. So I'm sure she'll get to the rest at some point in the near future, and it was just so fun. So we can all cross our fingers for a video together in November or so when I'm home next. And there goes the cat protesting because she hasn't had dinner yet. I haven't had dinner yet either, and so we're going to try to do this kind of fast so that I can go eat. Just keeping it real. And I might be talking really fast. I hope I make sense. Let's get started. First up, I have an FFO for this lovely little piece that I made for my roommate for her birthday. It says, "Ain't a gambler, but honey, I'd put money on myself." I love it. It's super sassy and funny. I'm a big fan. This is a frame we just happened to have around and stuck it in and liked it, so we kept it. It did get a little crooked, so I'm gonna adjust that. But overall, I really, really love how this turned out. She decided to hang it up in her room, which is fine. It's her present. But I'm hoping it might make an appearance in our living room at some point so I can also enjoy it. Although it probably means this song will get stuck in my head all the time. So maybe it's okay that it's in her room. I'll put it back here so we can all enjoy that with a glare. There we go. Okay, let's move on to WIPs. I have a lot of, I'm going to ramble a lot, hoping that out of sharing my dilemmas with you and kind of verbally processing it with you and with myself, I might come to some kind of revelation that I haven't had yet that will solve all my problems. Let's see if that happens. First up, let me share my oldest WIP with you. This is something that I started in high school. It was in 2006. I wrote it down. And this was a piece that I chose for myself that high school Abby really liked. Adult Abby, well, let me just show you first. It is this lovely horses coming out of the waves. Wow. Right? It's pretty. This is a Dimensions kit. It will look like that when it's all done. So it's nice. It's a lot of blues and purples. It's on a blue Ada, which is fine. So high school Abby really liked this because I'm from Kentucky, so horses were a big backdrop of my childhood. I haven't ridden a horse in 15 years. I would like to, though. That would be nice. But it's been a while. I was never crazy into horses, but we did lessons off and on occasion. So high school Abby really liked this because of that, and because high school Abby really liked Lord of the Rings, the movies. I haven't watched, oh, I've watched them once since then, but I watched them a lot in high school with one friend in particular. And this reminded me of the scene in, I think it's the Fellowship of the Ring. There's a scene where Arwen is like rescuing Frodo and she's carrying him across a river and someone's chasing them and she says like, if you want him, come and claim him. And it's like very fierce and wonderful. And then she makes this huge wave come crashing down and washes them all away. And it kind of looks like there are horses coming out of it. So it reminded me of that. However, adult Abby doesn't care all that much about Lord of the Rings. I enjoy them. I will continue to rewatch them every so often, but it's not like a design aesthetic for me. And that's still all I really see when I look at this. Other major problems, however. It's a lot of blue and it's a lot of purple, and those are not really like my favorite thing. It's a lot of like periwinkle purple or blue. Is that a blue shade or a purple shade? The other big problem with this is it's a lot of blended threads. Like almost every color in this was gonna sneeze. Almost every color in this is a blended color, and I discovered that I really don't like that. I don't mind when that happens on occasion, but when it's every thread, it really slows you down. I really like to do loop starts because I'm lazy and they're so convenient, and you can't do that with a blended thread. It's also a lot of half stitches, which I guess is nice because it goes really fast, but I don't know. I remember that being kind of annoying as well. There are also some parts where it's stitched with just one thread, even though it's like a 14 count Aida, and that does not look great. So it's a lot of shading and things, and there are a lot of parts that annoy me about this piece. So my question, problem number one, what do I do with this? Because obviously I don't love it, so I don't really want to stitch on it, and if I finish, I don't want to hang it up. But I don't want to get rid of it. I put a lot of work into that. And it's really pretty. It's great stitching. But I don't want to give this, I don't want to throw it out, obviously. I don't want to like give it away for someone else to finish because I still feel attached to this. I just don't know. I don't know what to do. Do I just keep it forever even though I'm not going to stitch it? Or do I keep it in the hopes that maybe my taste in another 11 years will mean that I'll love it again? I don't know. Do you all keep projects that you know you don't like anymore? I mean, it's not like it takes up a lot of space. So there's that. But, you know, it kind of goes against my minimalist tendencies to keep something that I'm not really using and don't really want. Okay, let's move on to something happier, and let's talk about progress on my two like current WIPs. In my mind, I kept calling these my WIPs in progress, which is so redundant and silly, but that's how I think of them, my WIPs in progress, the ones I'm actually stitching on. These are both from Stitchline on Etsy. They're both Harry Potter patterns, and I do not have photos of what they used to look like, but I will tell you what I stitched. So here we have on this little character sampler piece, I have finished Ron. Last time I just had his hair, and now I have finished him. And then I also have most of Hermione. I just need her scarf and her like school uniform under her robes. They were a lot of fun to stitch. There's like a lot of detail. There's a lot of back stitching that I don't know how much you can see. But Ron has a lot of stitching, and I thought that was going to be annoying, and it was really fun. I've also come to really love his hair color. I've complained about it in the past, but I kind of like it because I decided that if it was anything more like red hair, like it was just going to be orange because like what else would you use? So I've decided I like it. It's a good compromise. However, I've kind of stalled on this piece because I'm toying with the idea of changing all of their skin tones. They're all the same color, and that's fine, but I would really love to give them some diversity, and especially to make Hermione black, as J.K. Rowling has implied or confirmed. I feel like she made it pretty clear that that's how she sees Hermione. So I would kind of like to change that, especially because her hair is not brown, and she's supposed to have brown hair. So, I don't know. I've never changed colors, and clearly I have a lot of insecurities about it. So I've decided just to kind of put this down for a while until I decide more, and I might even just switch to doing like the rest of the border and do all the text and the colors that I do like. I don't know, what do you think? Should I change them? Or should I just stitch them all and like make an... My other plan was I could stitch this as charted because it does look good. And then I could make like a little Harry Potter piece. There are so many adorable patterns on Etsy. Make like a little one with maybe with just Harry, Ron, and Hermione and make them a diverse group. TBD. Let's move on. My other WIP is, like I said, another piece from Stitchline on Etsy. And this one is Hogwarts. And, look at that. It's amazing. I struggle with this one sometimes because it's kind of one where you definitely need to be like further back from it to be able to see the detail. Like it's almost kind of impressionistic in style. And it's at night and it's kind of in shadow, so it's not meant to be a super detailed piece. But you can definitely see more when you're back from it. I love it. So I've been stitching kind of like this chunk in the last few weeks. My goal is to finish this page by the end of September, because then I will have been working on this for 1 year and I will be at the halfway point. And that sounds appealing. This piece is just kind of frustrating sometimes because it's a ton of navy in the sky and in the water. And there's also a lot of black, and then there's a lot more navy. And it's just, I mean, it's a very dark color scheme in general. So it can get a little boring to stitch. There are like huge chunks where it's just a solid color, and sometimes it's nice to just like outline and then fill it in, but sometimes it's a lot of that and that gets old. So this kind of brings me to my dilemma, my main WIP dilemma. I've been thinking a lot about what my optimum number of WIPs is, and I really can't figure out what I like or what... I just would like to have a better stitching routine in place, and I just can't figure out what to do about that. So I'm just hoping this might like jog some ideas. I've pretty much always had like 2 or 3 WIPs at a time, and that works fine. It means I have like a big project like this and then one little one. It also works well because I have this frame and then I have 2 Q-snaps, so I like the idea of only having 3 things because that's what I have room for. But then I run into this problem, like right now, I've just done a lot of black and navy, so I kind of want to break from this, but I don't really want to do the characters right just yet. And then I've been having trouble because I want to start something new, but I want to start all the things and I can't choose. So part of me was like, what if you just sat down and like started all of them? Because, you know, even if you have something charted up, sometimes it's a lot of mental energy just to like sit down and count and measure and put those first couple stitches in place. So I was thinking like maybe just get them all started. But then that sounded really stressful and I didn't like that, and I don't know, I can't decide what I want to do. And this like does not matter at all. I'm just going to stitch. I just want to know. I want to know what really makes me happy. So I think the only way to figure that out is to try to have more WIPs so that I can always, because like I said, it's like stream of consciousness style here. I was thinking about it, and it made a lot of sense to me to have multiple projects, because when I read like 8 books at a time. Because I have books in different formats. I have ebooks and physical books and audiobooks. I have different genres. I have, within each genre, like sometimes I have kind of an easier book and something that's harder. So I always have a book that kind of fits my mood, fits the time of day, fits my energy, fits my interest, fits my environment. Like if I'm waiting at the doctor's office or something, I have like something that's a little easier to focus on and doesn't require my full attention because I'm going to be distracted. You get it. I read a lot of books so that I always have something that fits my mood. It would make sense to have the same with my stitching, but I've noticed that even when I had 3 projects going on, I would pretty much like choose a project and just stitch on that for a few weeks until for some reason I switched to something else, and I'd stitch on that and then switch to something else. So I had like an informal rotation. So should I just try that? Like start something new and maybe try a rotation? I don't know. I guess my question here, if you care to advise, let me know how many WIPs you have and why, because I feel like it's pretty common to be like, oh, look, I have like 15 WIPs. But like, why does that work for you? Why did you choose that rather than stitching 1 at a time or 2 at a time? I would love to know. I think my other thought on this was that I would like to have like 1 hard project and 1 easier project, but they're all about the same difficulty right now. And the 2 that I'm ready to start next are the House of Cooking and the Whales. I don't have them ready to show you. But they seem kind of like similarly, they're not like super detailed projects. I think they'll be pretty quick and painless. So like this would be a different story if I also had my Mirabilia started. I don't know. Okay. Let's calm ourselves down. Leave any advice or ideas you have for me below. I'm going to sort this out on my own time because this was not as productive as I thought. And let's move on. I'll try something out and share next time. And I don't mean this to be like a stressful thing for myself. I just am really curious. I really want to, I'm a person who really loves routine, and I want that in my stitching life. I just don't know I don't know how I want it to look yet. So follow along as I maybe figure that out. And maybe I don't. Who knows? Okay. Let's pause here to do some shout-outs. I have 2 people who I discovered in the last few weeks who I particularly want to share because they both taught me really helpful, wonderful things that you might also find interesting. And you might all already know about them. And I'm just like super behind the times. But the first one is Tina from Simply in Stitches. This girl is amazing. First of all, you've probably heard about her because she's incredible and she has amazing stitching, and she's a super crafty lady, so she also has, she'll make videos on knitting and sewing and probably other things that I just don't know about yet. Sorry, my phone is going off and I don't want to be distracted by it. Hopefully that fixes it. Sorry, Tina, she's amazing. She's super crafty. She separates her videos into like different categories. So like one day will be about stitching, one day will be about knitting, so you can choose which ones are interesting to you. I find them all interesting even though I don't knit or sew, because she's just like so talented and incredible. And she's right now stitching the Sewing Cats pattern, which I think is, no, I don't remember who that's by, but it's really adorable. And it's amazing, and she's great. But the reason I wanted to point her out in particular is because she has a framing tutorial that I really enjoyed and benefited from. I'll link it below, but she does a little tutorial on how to mount something on foam board and do the lacing and everything, and it was really handy, and I've used it twice now to varying degrees of success, but that's on me, not on Tina's instruction. I just, I'm lazy. So I kind of like gave up halfway through and just called it good enough instead of, as she advises, doing the proper amount of lacing to keep things in place. So I'll fix that. It's really helpful. She's great. Check her out if you haven't. Next up is Mkissa. There's probably a better way to pronounce that. I'll go watch her video again and find out later. I had been following her on Instagram and just realized recently that she had a channel as well. Her name is Marissa, and her stitching is beautiful. She's working on the national parks. Is it the bicentennial? Some type of milestone little national parks piece, which is so cute, and I love it so much. And in her most recent video, she talks about how she uses her bullet journal for cross-stitching, which was awesome because I use a bullet journal for my work and my life. Like almost everything in my life is in my bullet journal except for my stitching. And I've been bullet journaling for like a year now, but I have yet to figure out what I want to track cross-stitch wise and how to do it. And I've saved a few photos over the past couple months that are some things to try out, but I hadn't yet seen anyone kind of do a walkthrough of how they organize their stitching time. And she does that, and it was so helpful and awesome, and highly recommend it. If you don't bullet journal, it was also helpful. Just she talked about other organizational things that she does, and it was great. So check her out. I think that's all I had for shoutouts. Yes. So let's move on to some things that I have purchased lately. Well, first, a couple things I stole from my mom. I was visiting my mom, and as I mentioned, we figured out her cross-stitch stuff was in storage, and we didn't have a chance to go get it. But the morning that I was leaving, I looked down, and I noticed a box of cross-stitch charts. And it was mostly a box of all the charts that she had made for like different wedding and birth samplers, and a few other things that were like torn out of magazines, or a couple other like little seasonal charts and things. So nothing I really wanted to stitch. But then I found these two little booklets, and I asked if I could have them, and she said yes. So the first one is just a little like a free pamphlet thing that came with a cross-stitch magazine that says finishing tips and techniques. And the night before, or a couple days before, I had framed my happily ever after piece that I made for my friend. I, of course, left it until the last minute to frame to give to her, and I used Tina's instructions, but I had too thick a piece of foam board, and I wasn't really, I didn't iron it well enough, and it had a lot of little problems that meant it didn't look amazing. And I gave my friend some tips on how she could fix it, and apologized for it, and it looks fine, but it could look better. So when I asked if I could have this, my mom was like, yeah, you probably need that. With great love. But it talks about how to like clean your projects, how to frame them, finishing things with a pillow, or adding borders, fringes, or edging, and also how to make sachets and ornaments. So I thought that would be a handy thing to reference, where I can't get lost in the internet's abundance of information and differing opinions. Could have just like a credible source telling me what to do. So thanks, Mom. The other one that I took from her, because it just made me laugh, is this, what's so scary about linen? And I just thought that was hilarious. I've never stitched on linen. I don't find it scary, but it just was really funny. Like it talks, it tells you all the features and pros and cons of linen and things to be aware of. But my favorite was that it talks about washing and ironing it. And it starts by saying, ironing in America is about as current as churning butter. Nevertheless, linen needs to be ironed. And I just had a nice chuckle at that. But the reason I really wanted this was because it came with a bunch of little charts for these random assortment of animals and flowers and things. I really want to make this cat. I realized I don't have any cat patterns other than this tiny one. And I keep joking that I'm going to make the cat a cross stitch. Oh, she's behind you all now. I keep joking I'm going to make her a cross stitch and hang it up for her. There's this one spot that she really loves to sleep. That's like, we have the living room and then the hallway, and they like meet in a corner, and she likes to sleep like around that corner with her paws on the two walls, and it's so cute. And I really want to make a tiny little cross stitch of a cat and hang it up right above the floor. because that would make me laugh so hard, obviously. My roommate didn't find it as funny, but we'll see what happens. I feel like it's, if not there, I could put it in my room near the floor for her. But now I've discovered I really need to find myself some cat patterns because they clearly delight me to no end. Crazy cat lady that I now am. A few other things, small things that have improved my stitching life that you all probably already have because you are competent stitchers. Things like a pair of fabric scissors. I did not own. They were very nice to have. I cut some felt to pad my Q-snap and I used these and it was nice, but I'm super excited to see how else these come in handy. I also got myself a little hole punch that makes like a, large circle for making my own project cards for keeping track of floss. A very easy $2 to keep my stitching slightly less wasteful by just reusing cardboard or cardstock to make my own of those. Like I said, all this is stuff that you guys probably already have or know or do. The other part, other tiny life upgrade, I used to have one little needle case that I kept all of my needles. And that was annoying because I had a few different sizes and they kept getting jumbled up. I bought 2 more and I labeled them with washi tape so I can tell them apart. And now my needles can be sorted and happy. That cost about $3 and now I can find what I need. And it's amazing. Okay, and then my last, not very exciting, you already own it update. I got myself, it's kind of 2 things. I got myself some DMC stickers because when you have a 40% off everything coupon, that's what you need, right? But they went along with a floss box. I just had all my floss in a bag and I didn't realize how much I had accumulated. This is all the floss that is not currently being used by a project, including the ones I have already kitted up and ready to go. It's a lot. And I spent a couple hours putting it on bobbins and labeling it and organizing it by color, and it was so much fun, and now I totally get why it's so appealing to have a full set, because now I want a full set. I updated a spreadsheet with it as well so that I can keep track of what I own. And there you have it, about $10 over the course of 2 trips to Michael's that have changed my life. Now, if you're still with me and haven't died of boredom, because I just told you a lot of really obvious things, I have one other thing that I've purchased that I'm really happy about, and I want to issue, I'm sorry to anyone who's a massive Harry Potter fan, because this is something that's not available for purchase anymore, and I wish that it was, because I would buy 10 more. But this is a project bag that I got from Nell of Little Yellow House Crafts, and she had a bag sale, I guess about a month or so ago. And I have never had a project, I'm going to talk about it first. I'll make you wait to see it in detail. I've never had a project bag before. I keep my projects in tote bags, and that works for me just fine. I don't really take my stitching very many places. I didn't really get the appeal of something that they sell for they are $20 to $40 depending on sizing. That was a lot of money. I could make my own, but I don't have a sewing machine here, so that's on hold. And I just didn't quite get it. But then she announced that her next bag sale was going to include 3 different Harry Potter patterns. And I was like, okay, I'm interested. I'll check it out, and if there's something that I like, then there's something that I like. Most project bags haven't appealed to me because I don't like a lot of color in my design aesthetic. I stick to grays and black and white. But this one meets that criteria. So now I'll show you. This is, This is my project bag. It's the Daily Prophet. Look, Dark Lord defeated. Dumbledore, daft or dangerous. I can't read those backwards on my computer, but it's awesome. It's so awesome. So Nell custom printed fabric for each of her 7 different themed bags. Is that not amazing? Get kind of a better look at it here. So it meets all my criteria. It's black and white, and it's Harry Potter. And I love it very much. And it has little black and gold stars, and the inside is this nice little black shimmer, not black, gold shimmery delight. I had the Anna Gambler piece in here, and so it's all my leftover stuff that needs to be put away for one of those new projects that I will start while I figure out my life. I love it so much. Unfortunately, they're not available, and since she made her own fabric, they were limited edition. I'm hoping that she brings them back, maybe if we all ask nicely, because all the other ones were gorgeous as well. There was a Marauders map one, which was incredible. There was one that was like little cartoon Harry Potter characters. The other ones, she had like a Wizard of Oz one, a bookshelf. There was a Jane Austen one, and a Doctor Who one. So she kind of chose all these fandoms where there are not great patterns available and made some amazing things. I'm really happy, but I still can't figure out if I like having a project bag or not. This was the size that I was able to get. It was like a Facebook sale, so it was just like whoever got to a photo first and commented got it. And I'm super happy with it. It fits. I have an 8x8 Q-snap in here. I could probably fit my 8x11 in this bag, but I don't know. I still can't decide how much I like this versus a tote bag. I think that this will be really nice for travel, and I'm excited to test that out eventually. And I love it, obviously, because it's Harry Potter. I keep it at the front of my little cross-stitch basket, so it makes me happy all the time. I also got a matching grime guard, so that made me happy too. And I really love it. If you know of anyone who makes project bags that include like black and white patterns, they're kind of hard to find. If you know of any, let me know. I know a lot of people will do custom orders, but that feels like a lot of work to request and approve, and I don't know if I'm into that, but I'm going to keep trying this out. I'm going to add it to my WIP quandaries, and I'll let you know what I land on, if you care. That is almost enough rambling for today. I feel like I have been talking really fast and really disconnectedly. That's not a word, because I'm really hungry, so I'm going to pause here to say, if you aren't really into books, then thank you so much for watching, and if any of my talking made sense, like, please feel free to leave comments below. For those of you who are interested in books, I have 3 things to share. We're back. It's now Friday. For some reason, my camera did not record the very end where I was talking about books and saying goodbye to you all, so we're going to do that part again. I have just a couple of books to share, and one of them is a very obvious old favorite that will come as no surprise. But I wanted to share these because I happened to pick both of these up this week, and I started reading one, and they just struck me as such wonderful back-to-school books, which it is tragically almost that time of year. And I was just really happy to stumble across these and discover how fun they are. These are both books that really make school and learning seem like a blast, which it should be. So they made me really happy, even though for all of you teachers, I'm sure you feel similarly, like excited to go back and excited for the new year, but also dreading it because you know how busy the school year will be. And you won't have a break until miles away. But it's fine. It's fine. We're rested. We're ready. It's going to be great. And to get you in the mood, I have a couple of suggestions. Both of these are old childhood favorites and books that I have reread many a time and still really enjoy reading as an adult. I read a lot of children's literature because I enjoy it. This is Sideways Stories from Wayside School by Louis Sachar. It is a delight. There are 3 books in this series, I guess. I also have Wayside School is Falling Down. The other one is called Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger. And all three of these are really quick, fun, easy reads. I love them. I loved them as a kid. I love them as a teacher. I love them as just an adult who laughs at really dumb humor. This is about, if you are not familiar, these books have been around for a while, but it's about a school, Wayside School, which they accidentally built. Instead of 1 story high and 30 classrooms long, they built it 30 classrooms tall. And it's about the classroom on the 30th story. And as you might infer from the kooky illustrations, it's a very kooky classroom. Their teacher has some unconventional teaching methods, and the kids are a little weird, and it's very fun. I think these would make a really great read aloud if you are a parent. I would suggest them. There is some dumb humor in here, so if that is something that irritates you, then you might not like it, but there's a lot of really good puns and just like really clever jokes as well. They're wonderful, both of these. Highly recommend. I picked up a couple copies for free a couple months ago and happened to notice them the other day when I needed a book at bedtime, and they were a perfect solution. Well, I read this one at bedtime. They go really fast. So, highly recommend. The other book, which like I've said, will come as no surprise, but is one that I'm really excited about. Oh, look at my runaway. Hope not. I like it. I was at the library the other day returning some books, and there's a little Friends of the Library bookstore, which I don't go into very often because the books there usually cost $2, and there are a lot of really good ones, so I could easily spend a lot of money there. But every once in a while they do clearance carts outside, and there was a cart, and I noticed this. That's right, that is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the UK edition of the first book. It's so pretty. I had never seen this in person before. Ah, look how gorgeous that is. And it's a really nice copy. It's in great condition. And I was expecting this to still cost like $1 or $2 because it was, the cart wasn't labeled. However, I took it up to the counter, and guess how much I paid? Nope, 25 cents. So I'm really excited. As you may remember, one of my goals in life is to have a Harry Potter library with all possible editions of Harry Potter. And I currently have like maybe 10 or 11 books to put in it so far. So this is my first international addition to that collection. My goal is to kind of keep my collection very organic, at least until I have a room that could become a Harry Potter library. I'm not going to really, I'm not setting out to collect those books right now. But as I happen to come across them, I will definitely pick them up, especially when they're a quarter. There's also a little note inside that says, I just thought it was so cute. It says, "Hi Sally, this copy is the English original and fun to read. Children love it. Love P." And on the back, P responded, no, Love T? I don't know. Love P. No, she responded to Patsy. I can't talk straight. Okay, Patsy, it was terrific. Reminded me of Tolkien. And then signed. And I thought that was so cute and fun that they shared a book that they loved, and the person also loved it, I hope. So I was very happy to find this copy. And it got me to thinking how great a back-to-school book this is as well, especially this first one where his back-to-school shopping experience is so magical and so detailed. But I think any Harry Potter book is a great back-to-school option. I typically reread them in the fall. If you're curious, I talked last time about doing a reverse reread of the series, starting with book 7 and working my way down. I decided to actually pause and keep going with this in a few weeks because I want to time my reading with the release of the new illustrated Prisoner of Azkaban, which comes out in October. So I've decided to kind of slow down, and I will probably not read them. I'll probably read like one a month, I guess. That would kind of work, 1 or 2 a month, so that I'm ready to read the third one when that one comes out, and then I'll read the second, and then I'll read this one. See how nicely that worked? So I am really loving it, but just on hold a little bit. Okay, that's it for books. Well, let me see. Is that it for books? I don't have any other exciting things to show. I do have one exciting thing to show. Since you're here, if you're here, it's because you like books, so I'm just going to keep talking. I reread the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series this summer, which I read as a teen and loved. Actually, I kind of hated them at first, but then I reread them once I was like an older teen, maybe, and really loved them. But Amber Shares, came out with a 5th book a few years ago. This has been out for a while. So the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, it's these 4 best friends, and when they are 16 or 15, one summer they find a pair of jeans that magically fits all 4 of them, and they use it as a kind of a pen pal system as a way of staying in touch even though they're separated for the summer. And they keep going for the next 4 summers. So there are 4 books in the original series, and they're just really fun summery teen reads that I would recommend because I love them. This book, Sisterhood Everlasting, picks up 10 years later, so they're all like in their very late late 20s, not very late 20s. They're in their late 20s, which is the same for me. This came out in 2011, if you're curious. And so they're older, they have new challenges in life and new challenges at staying in touch. It's a really great look at how friendship really evolves and changes over time, and kind of what it looks like to keep your childhood best friends, even though you become such different people by the time you're in your 20s or late 20s. Anyway, it's really good. I have read this before. I read it a couple summers ago, and just a warning, it's really sad. It's definitely like it's darker in tone than the others. So if you cry easily, this is not a good book for you. But I'm really loving it. I started rereading the series, and then my roommate also started. So we've been kind of going through them together, and it's been really, really fun. And I don't want it to end, especially because I know what's going to happen in this book. But it's great, and I recommend it, especially for a summer read. And with that, I will be done. Thank you so much for being with me today, or tomorrow, or whenever. I really appreciate your lovely comments. Please give me your WIP advice below if you have it. I promise I'm not as stressed and frantic about it as I might have appeared earlier. I just really want to be able to articulate my stitching preferences. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend. I hope you get to do lots and lots of stitching. I hope that your top knots turn out a little more precisely than mine. And I'll see you next time. Bye.